You've been told Stoicism is serious, cold, all about emotionless statues and stiff upper lips. But that's not the truth. Real Stoicism? It's weird, wild, a little absurd, and it might just be exactly what your overthinking mind has been searching for. Because while the world shouts at you to hustle harder, do more, be more, the Stoics quietly trained themselves to laugh at life's chaos, to smile through misfortune, to practice death in the morning and eat burnt toast at night without a single complaint. You've been taught to fear discomfort, avoid failure, hide your pain behind filters and smiles. But what if you could flip that script? What if peace came not from escaping the absurd, but from embracing it? Tonight you're going to hear Stoic lessons so strange they sound made up, but they're real, and they work. Lessons that teach you how to talk back to your thoughts in a ridiculous accent, how to train your mind using a rotten fish, how to become immune to praise with the help of a talking onion, and somehow, through all the absurdity, your mind will start to settle. The pressure will melt off your chest. The storm in your thoughts will go quiet, and for the first time in a long time, you'll feel still. Because in this madness, you'll find something sacred, not logic, not perfection, but peace. This isn't just another sleep video. This is mental jiu-jitsu disguised as bedtime stories. And when you wake up tomorrow, you won't be the same. You'll be softer, stronger, a little stranger, and a lot more free. Ready to let go? Let's begin. So let's start where nobody wants to begin, with losing. Not the kind of loss that's posted online with a silver lining and a motivational quote. Not the loss you pretend didn't happen so you can get back to pretending you're fine. We're talking about real loss, failure that stings, moments that make your chest feel heavy, your face go red, and your thoughts spiral. You felt it. Maybe it was when they said no to you, when everything fell apart, even though you did everything right, when someone else got the thing you worked for, or when you looked in the mirror and didn't like what you saw. But here's the twist. What if those moments weren't setbacks? What if they were training? Epictetus believed that losing on purpose wasn't just acceptable, it was powerful. Because if you want to become invincible, you don't train by stacking up wins. You train by falling on your face and choosing to get up without flinching. He didn't start as a philosopher. He started as a slave, beaten, owned, controlled, powerless, and yet he became one of the most mentally free men in history, not because he ran from hardship, but because he let it hit him and didn't break. He would deliberately place himself in uncomfortable situations. He would challenge his assumptions. He would let himself look foolish, fail at things, be mocked, be dismissed, and instead of reacting with bitterness, he'd watch his own emotions like a scientist. Because here's what he understood. Losing is a mirror. It shows you who you really are underneath the surface. Success hides a lot. It makes you feel in control even when you're not. It strokes your ego, feeds your pride, and tells you you're untouchable. Until one day, you're not, and it all crashes, and you don't know how to handle it. But if you train for loss, if you let yourself experience it intentionally, you become someone the world can't shake. You stop living like a balloon in the wind, only floating when things go your way. You become the mountain. When Epictetus was mocked for walking with a limp, he didn't snap back. He laughed. Why? Because he had trained himself to not care. He had already accepted his limitations. He had already practiced losing his image, his pride, his comfort. And if you've already made peace with loss, you're free. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us are addicted to winning. We're addicted to being seen a certain way. We chase admiration like oxygen. We perform for praise. We fear disapproval, like death, which means we're never actually in control. We're owned by the outcome. One harsh word ruins our day. One failure breaks our spirit. One rejection sends us spiraling. But the Stoic approach is different. It says, what if you walked into failure on purpose, with your eyes open? What if you spoke up knowing it might go badly, so you could train your tolerance for discomfort? What if you let someone misunderstand you, so you could get used to not needing validation? What if you pursued something hard and didn't get it, so you could teach your mind that failure isn't fatal, because it isn't. It's a teacher. And Epictetus knew, the faster you learn to lose, the faster you stop fearing it. He used to say, you become what you give your attention to. So if you give all your attention to outcomes, you become fragile. But if you give your attention to the process, the training, you become strong. And that's what losing on purpose does. It shifts your attention inward, to your character, to your effort, to your resilience. Not how people see you, not how many likes or wins or trophies you collect, but how steady you stay when everything goes wrong. It's about control, but not the kind you think. Not control over events, not control over people, but control over yourself. When you feel shame rise in your chest, when your ego screams at you to defend yourself, when your pride says, you can't let them treat you like that, you pause, you breathe, you let it pass through. That's power. You're not weak because you lost. You're strong because you didn't run from it. And here's the part nobody talks about. Winning all the time makes you soft. You stop taking risks. You start playing it safe. You hide your truth to keep your image intact. But losing, real, intentional loss, hardens your core, sharpens your mind, and cuts off the part of you that's addicted to approval. And once that part is gone, you start doing things for better reasons. You write that book even if no one reads it. You speak your truth even if it shakes your voice. You apply for the job even if you get rejected. You try the thing even if you're bad at it. Because now, the outcome doesn't own you. You own your effort. You own your intention. You own your response. And that's what makes you dangerous to failure. It can't touch someone who doesn't fear it. It can't humiliate someone who's already made peace with looking stupid. It can't break someone who doesn't need things to go perfectly. The goal isn't to lose for the sake of suffering. The goal is to expose yourself to it until it becomes familiar and stops having power over you. Epictetus called this voluntary hardship. Most people avoid pain at all costs. He walked toward it because he knew it would shape him faster than anything else. The pain of rejection, a chance to train your ego to loosen its grip. The sting of failure, a window into your patience and commitment. The discomfort of not being the best, a lesson in humility and long-term vision. The more you lose on purpose, the less you fear anything. And when you stop fearing failure, you become willing to attempt anything. That's when the real magic happens. Not just strength, but freedom. Because now, no one can manipulate you with rewards. No one can crush you with setbacks. No one can trap you in perfectionism or performance. You're grounded, rooted, unshakable, because you don't need to win to feel worthy. You've unhooked your self-worth from external success. You've trained it like a muscle in the gym of adversity, in the furnace of failure. You've replaced panic with patience, control with courage, image with integrity. So when life throws loss your way, you nod. You've been here before. You've practiced this. And instead of asking, why me? You say, let's begin. You stop trying to prove yourself, and you start building yourself from the inside out. That's what Epictetus did, and that's why we still talk about him. Not because he won the world's approval, but because he became the kind of person who didn't need it. That's the goal. And you can start today, not by chasing wins, but by choosing a small loss, a moment of discomfort, and letting it shape you instead of shame you. Because the truth is, there's no such thing as losing. When your purpose is growth, that's the philosophy, that's the path, that's the peace, and that's what makes you untouchable. So after learning how to lose on purpose and becoming untouchable by failure, what comes next? Let's go deeper, not darker, just weirder. Because now it's time to let go of something even more subtle than ego. Your attachments, not just to success, but to things, to objects, to comfort, to the silent grip of mine.